Joe, how are Kristaps and Drew doing?
Doing pretty good. What are they listed as right now? Still questionable. So we'll see how they look when they come in, and then we'll kind of go from there.
For Drew, it feels like he's had a lot of bumps and bruises throughout the years, had to miss a couple games. How much do you feel like that's impacted him, whatever he's kind of going through physically?
Yeah, I mean, he's had a couple, but he manages his body pretty well, and just got to continue to take care of it. So does a good job of knowing. I don't think it's impacted him too much, and hope to get him back soon.
And I think you called the Indiana series the most difficult one you guys faced on that run. How did that challenge you guys, and what kind of similarities, differences do you see in them this year compared to them?
Yeah, very similar. I mean, they just put a ton of pressure on you defensively with their, all five guys' ability to attack closeouts. They can drive the ball. They get put pressure on your individual defense, your communication. Do a really good job of that. And defensively, they're tough and physical. So they multiple possessions run you off the line, put you in position. When there's a gray area on what the right decision is, and so they just test you on that. So they're good at what they do.
Joe, what would you attribute to the defensive lapses at times, the lackadaisical play, the inconsistency you referred to? I mean, you have 2 days since the Philadelphia game, and what did you come away with watching that game over again?
Yeah, I mean, just communication of coverages, individual, attention to detail to the tendencies, just the simple things that go into, a good defensive scheme over the course of a long time. And, we're really good at it over the course of a season, but, the inconsistencies depend upon when they come. We just have to continue to get better at those possessions when the details are there and we have to execute.
Is it upon the individuals to kind of motivate themselves? I mean, you can't go in there and give them a rah-rah speech and try to motivate them to play 48 minutes hard. How do you go about it?
I mean, if you're I don't know if that, I would never say that we're not motivated. I think, I would never say that. So, I don't think that's the case in a lot of the things. I think it's more of the details at times, the communication at times. I don't question, the intrinsic motivation, to our guys or where they're at. So I don't think that's the case at all. And I think it's easy to look at one game and say it's the defense. I mean, just 2 games ago, we dominated Chicago defensively, had 2 25-point quarters. So I just think when you're in a tough stretch and when it's not going well, the easiest thing for the untrained eye to see is defense, effort, motivation, and those are just kind of words that people throw around. I think the things that we really have to get better at is what we focused on today. Situational defense in 10 to 15 possessions were a part of that. I just think it's so easy to go to that when you lose whatever we've lost, 2 out of 3, something like that.
Joe, when you have a little bit of a lull, whatever you want to call it, it's a couple of losses. Facing a team like Indiana that has historically challenged you, is it better to face that team now and maybe kind of like have the guys locked in from the beginning, or is it is there any sort of like, I don't know if worry is the right word, but like this is the wrong time to be facing a team that challenges you like this? I mean,
it's an 82-game regular season. It's never the wrong time for anything. I mean, like whatever it is, it is. It's the opportunity that the schedule presents for you, and you handle it, you deal with it, you execute it, and you move on. So there's never a wrong time for anything.
But you know what I mean? Like when a team like Indiana, that they've historically challenged you.
Yeah, it's great. I'm excited for that. I can't wait. Like, I think it'll be a good time. I mean, either we accept the challenge or we don't, and we learn from it and we move on. You know what I mean? It's the NBA. I think all 29 teams are a threat. So whoever's coming in on this particular day is going to pose a challenge to us that, we have to get better at. So it's not like, this game is coming at a bad time. It's the NBA season. I think everyone is really good and a threat. So you're going to get everyone's best shot. So there's never a bad time for an opportunity to get better, in my opinion,
Joe, you could probably argue last season, whenever you guys had someone out, someone stepped in, played at a really high level, you could probably argue that actually strengthened you guys as the season went on and going into the playoffs. What do you see as the value that can be taken out of moments when someone does miss a game or a couple guys miss a game that you guys can, big picture, carry through the whole season?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a huge key, is developing, not your bench, but your bench identity, to where being ready to play at any time, being ready versus a certain matchup. You get into a situation where one guy may be a perfect fit for a playoff series, and the next it may be somebody completely different. And so building the habits and the things that go into developing different guys for different identities, I think is really important over the course of a season, because you don't get to pick your opponent, and you don't get to pick your matchup. You don't get to pick the strengths and weaknesses of who your opponent is, and you have to be ready to face those on. And so I enjoy those moments. I obviously want to be fully healthy as long as we can, but the times that we're not, it's preparing us for the unknowns of the rest of the season in the playoffs.